Arithmetic reasoning is what we've got going on. And as always, we're going to be practicing effective word problem strategy, doing a ton of different problems, and then I'll point out exactly where these questions came from in the program. So remember that just because you get one question wrong doesn't mean you get the next wrong. And just because you've gotten them all right doesn't mean that you are growing. You want to stay curious about every instance you get it wrong and right, getting locked in and staying locked in throughout the whole class, and then we can say that we've guaranteed some growth. So here's how today's class is going to work. As always, with arithmetic reasoning gauntlets, we're going to go ahead and post up anywhere between 2 and 3 minutes per question. I'm going to start us off right there in the sweet spot in the middle, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're about to dive on in, and here's what's going to happen. Here's what you can expect. At the 2 minute and 30 second mark, which you'll see pop up right around here in just a few moments, I'm going to go ahead and stop the clock. Then you'll share your answers. Don't share them before the time ends. That's not what cool people do. We'll go ahead and share those answers once the timer's up, and then we'll go ahead and go from start to finish as if we are doing the problem all again for the first time. My goal for you is this, and pay very close attention, especially if this is your first time. Your goal is not to learn how to perfect every single problem right now. Your goal is to 1, identify how far you can get on your own. 2, explain how you know you're good up until the point you got confused. And then 3, understand your mistake. Let me say that again. You want to understand your mistake, but you also want to understand the why. Why you were correct all the way up until this point, why you were wrong, where you were wrong, and then what you can do moving forward. So my only goal for you is to get 1 step better than you were before. Yes or no, everybody? Does that make sense? Your only goal today is to get 1 step better than you were before. Hey, Jay, I'm glad. All right, perfect, my party people. I'm glad. Again, make those mistakes, because that's not the problem. The problem is avoiding learning from those mistakes. So with that said, let's go ahead and get this timer up. As you will tell, again, right next to me, you will see that timer pop right up. And then I'll go ahead and grab this timer, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And let's have some fun, everybody. Welcome in to Anderson's ASVAB Arithmetic Reasoning class. Whether you laugh or cry, we're going to grow and ace the ASVAB. Have fun. Let's talk about this question, and let's kind of go through it with the same 3-step strategy that we always go with. And if this is your first time hearing this, remember that the first thing you want to do in a word problem is read the actual question sentence first, and I'm going to highlight that for you right here. You want to make it a habit to snap your attention to the question, because this is where your attention is best served. You don't want to read information that's useless. You don't want to, go outside and then look at all the leaves on a tree and then count the steps on a cement pathway and then see how many cars are on the road and then see how much time it takes for the light to turn green just to make it to the grocery store and then fulfill what you were supposed to do, which was go ahead and perform a shopping task. If the goal is to perform a shopping task, that's where your attention snaps to. My goal, go to the store, buy these things. You don't care about the in-between. You don't care about that. So same thing with a word problem. Snap your attention, because you don't have that much time. Snap your attention to the question. The question is, what month was it? 39 months ago. Okay, that's all we care about. So my party people, let me see who's paying attention. So I saw that it said 39 months. So we have October. Is this what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to find what October plus 39 months is. Yes or no? Hit me up. Let's see. October plus 39 months, that's what we're looking for, right? Have 1 yes, 2 yeses, 3 yeses. Oh, starting to see some no's. How could it be no? How could it be no? Well, let's go ahead and take a moment here and understand what this key word or key phrasing is really doing for us. My party people, what word, can you write it down? What word do we see after 39 months? What word do we see? And if you want to put it in all caps, if you want to write it 2 or 3 times so we can hear you in the back, go ahead. Yes, ago. A-G-O. My party people, today's Tuesday, as you saw me forget. Today's Tuesday. If I said, what day was it 1 day ago? What are we talking about? Monday or Wednesday? Monday or Wednesday? Yeah, we're talking about Monday. We're absolutely talking about Monday. So with that said, just understand what the keyword means. The keyword ago means going back in time. So that one misinterpretation could cost you the problem. Because if you said 39 months from now, you might have said, hey, it might be January. And I don't see that answer there and I'm freaking out. But I'm going to show you how we can get there very quickly. So, number one, we are not doing minus 39 months. We are taking away 39 months. Again, it's all about these key words. Number two, if you took any longer than a minute to do this problem, you shouldn't have. I'm going to show you how to do a problem like this in honestly less than 10 seconds. And it plays off of your fact or your knowledge about calendars. Everybody, my first question is this, and I'm going to prove it to you. Watch this. First question, how many months are there in a year? How many months are there in a year? Hey, Flacco, shout out to you. Congratulations on joining the Air Force. And you've been to Korea and now you're in Japan. Man, congratulations. Thanks for trusting us. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and text us at our line and just leave a review for us because that's awesome. That's an awesome story. I appreciate that. But coming back to this, everybody, yes, 12 months in a year, obvious question. So let's go ahead and use that to our advantage. My party people, let's ask a simple question. If today's October, if we add 12 months, what month will it be? If we add 12 months, if we add a full year, what month will it be? Right, of course, it'll be October. If we add 12 months, it'll be October. Well, let's go ahead and say if we subtracted 12 months, what month will it be again? Just go ahead, humor me. Right, it'll still be October. So what are we getting at? What I'm getting at is you don't have to sit here and count backwards 39 months. That's not reliable. You don't have enough fingers. You know, you can go ahead and start off and go, okay, October, September, okay, August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January, and then you just keep going back and you're going to lose yourself. You don't have that much time on the ASVAB. And remember, when it comes to the ASVAB, there's always a better way. Here's what I mean. If I take away 12 months, we're still in October. I take away 24 months, we're still in October. I take away 36 months. That's just 12 times 3. Take away 36 months, I'm still in October. My party people, does that make sense to you? Yes or no? I can subtract 12 any number of times and land on the same month. Cool. And I didn't even write it down yet, so I'm glad that most of you are on board. So now let me help you visualize it. If I take away 12 months, which is exactly 1 year, we're still in October. If we do it again, minus another 12 months, we're still in October. Take away 12 months again, we're still in October. So everyone help me out. At this point, how many total months have I taken away? How many total months? Awesome. 36, right? Let's count that out. Let's go ahead and make sure we have that highlighted so we are good. We have 12 here, 12 here, 12 here. So we have 36 months. Now, how many months do we have left to take away? Because again, the word ago. How many more months do we have left to take away? Right, just 3 more months to take away. So at this point, it might be very, very good for you to know your calendars. So we have January, February. I'm just going to do this to visualize it with you. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Let's go ahead and zoom on in on my very poor calligraphy here. And we'll go ahead and start from October. And let's jump back 3 months. 1, 2, 3. Boom. What month do we land on, my party people? Exactly, Christopher. That's the easiest way to do it. October is the 10th month. Subtract 3. You're at the 7th month. Right there, that's July. So what I'm saying is you don't have to worry about going through a year. Just go ahead and apply the leftover. And that's what will help you out the most in this instance. So does that make a little more sense to you? My party people, for those of us that were a little confused about it, does that make a little more sense in terms of how to handle this question? Because the answer is B, July. Right on, Delilah. Awesome to see. Right on. And even if we're not quite there yet, remember that we want to come back and try this again. And in the program, if you're looking to try more problems exactly like this one, where you'll look is going to be Arithmetic Reasoning Unit 1. So Arithmetic Reasoning Unit 1, this is exactly where you want to go. These are specifically called modulus questions, and all it means is that you're dealing with questions that deal with a remainder. So 39 months is not exactly 39 months here. It's actually just 3 months, because you don't need every 12. You just need what's left. Cool. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right into the next one. And the first chance that we get when we see a problem that deals with a formula, I'll go ahead and show you how to use your formula sheet in the program and where to find it. So let's go ahead and move right over here. Oh, well, look at that. So go ahead and try this one out. I will give you 2 minutes and 30 seconds again, and give it your best go. Remember that raising your score and getting the job you want isn't luck. There's a process that you go through, and practicing effectively with us is the best way to go about it. And this Labor Day, you can go ahead and use that code to save 20% off your first month, or even better, save 25% off of our year and lifetime discounts. You'll get access to features like getting real-time progress reports by texting us anytime, 24/7, online courses with over 20,000 practice problems and step-by-step solutions, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So if you want to ace the ASVAB, go ahead and go to that link in the description or there. That way you can sign up, raise your score, save big, and get that job that you want. You know, we can't expect ourselves to be perfect all the time, but once we identify what it is we need to do, then it's your responsibility, 100% your responsibility, to make sure that you know this. For the same way that you know all the emergency contacts that you know you need to hit up, like your parents, your sisters, siblings' phone numbers in case of an emergency, your own phone number, your social security, which you should know. These things, same deal here. It's just a fact that you need to know this just in case it pops up, so don't sell yourself short. You have an incredible brain, you can remember these things, you can memorize them, so let's go ahead and get to work. So, first things first, for those of you who were, again, a little directionless in, hey, I didn't know the formula. Well, here's what you have to look forward to. So in the program now, if you look, go ahead, there we go. If you go ahead and look behind me, everybody let me know, yes or no, can you see the screen behind me? Sweet. So what you're looking at behind you is going to be the Arithmetic Reasoning Bootcamp course. So when you look over here to the left, what you're going to see is, hey, this is your introduction. That's your introductory unit. And you see that you have right over here how the word problem speed drills work, translation of common keywords, but right over here, formulas and conversions, that's where you want to click, and that's what's going to give you this. So you have all of your unit conversions, and I tell you what unit that's going to be from. Unit 3 right there. Scroll on down. You have your formulas for percentages, which is Unit 4. Then you have your formulas for Unit 5, distance, rate, time. Your formula for linear equations, Unit 6. And then you have your geometric formulas, area, perimeter, volume, right over here. And so if you forgot, well, boom. If we're talking about a rectangular prism, then we are talking about length times width times height. So everybody, for those of you in the program, is this slightly more useful than having to see it within each unit? Is it better to have it all compiled for you? David, that's right. Now I know what you'll be doing right after class. Perfect. Good. Good, good, good. So again, I'm giving you guys the resources that you need. This is a simple gesture. This took me no more than 25 minutes to compile, and I'll go ahead and add anything that I may or may not have forgotten as soon as you guys let me know. So, boom, there's your formula. Let's go ahead and get back into it here, and let's go ahead and apply that formula. So, first things first, to know that we need the formula, you need to know what the question is. What is the volume of the rectangular prism? Everybody, very few times will you be told exactly what formula you need to use right there at face value. Sometimes it goes through keywords, but sometimes you are blessed by the math gods and you're told exactly what it is that you need. Volume, rectangular prism. Can't get any better than that. So, everybody, let's go ahead and do a little pop quiz exercise. Hit me with the formula right here in the chat box. What is the formula for a rectangular prism? Hit me. Yep, length times width times height, and everybody's lazy enough to just use the letters L times W times height. So there it is, length times width times height. Booyah. So there we have it. And so everyone, again, your goal is to find the volume. You know what the formula is. So now the next little sub goal is figure out what the length, the width, and the height are. Thankfully, in this question, it's not terribly difficult to find out because we give you the length, we give you the width, and we give you the height. So because we give you all three of these, all you have to do, plug and play. Plug and play, calculate, and you are done. 25 times 15 times 50. And so now that's it. You just go ahead, quiet down, do the calculation, and you're set. So here, 25 multiplied by 15. We'll go ahead and just multiply here. 5 times 5, 25. Carry the 2. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. Bring that 2 back is 12. Then we're going to go ahead and apply a 0 because now we'll be working on the next place value, that 1 or 10 from the 15. So we'll continue going. 1 times 5 is going to be 5. And 2 times 1 will be 2. Bring all that back together. And that's going to give us 5, 7, and 3. So far we have the volume is 375 multiplied by 50. And now we're going to perform that. Just because you have an extra digit doesn't make it any less possible or impossible. It's just math. It's just calculating. It's just multiplying. So don't waste time. Jump right back in. And if you have mental math tricks to use, go ahead and use them. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to allow myself to apply mental math by saying, hey, if instead of multiplying by 5, I know that 50 is the same thing as just saying times 5 times 10. One more time. 50 is the same thing as 5 times 10. So I'm just going to multiply by 5, knowing that to multiply by 10, everybody, what's the trick? If you're multiplying by 10, what's the easiest way to do it? What do you just do to the number you're multiplying 10 by? Right. Exactly. That was like 5 people at once. Yeah, all you need to do is just tack a 0 on at the end because multiplying by 10 is just increasing the place value by 1. 1, 0. So just multiply by 5, bring back the 0. So here we go. 375 multiplied by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 2 is 37. And then we have 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1, or carry the 3, excuse me, and that's going to be 18. And so, what did we say we would do at the end to multiply that 10, everybody? What did we say we'd do at the end? Precisely. We'll tack that 0 right back on, and we're done. So, booyah, we'll go ahead and put that right there. So our final answer is going to be 18,750 cubic inches. Remember that when it comes to cubic units, you always, or for volume, excuse me, you always use cubic units. So that's how you know you're dealing with volume in case you're dealing with a word problem that might happen to give you a number, but they don't tell you what it means. You can use clues like, oh, if it's cubic inches or cubic feet or cubic yards or cubic whatever, you know you're dealing with volume every single time. So our final answer over here will be B, 18,750 cubic units. Right on, Evelyn. Like that excitement. There we go. Not bad for a Tuesday. How'd everybody else do? Was this problem an easy, medium, or hard question for you? I would hope that this one lands on the more fundamental problems for you, where it's not terribly difficult. We know what we need to do. The actual calculation, how long that takes you is how long that takes you. I recommend always getting faster, but I hope you can see exactly what was needed to be done. And if you made a mistake, we can hopefully spot it very quickly. Easy after I explained it. Yeah, and absolutely, Brian, you can absolutely practice this all day, every day. This is going to be found in Unit 10. This will be found here in Unit 10. Arithmetic Reasoning, Unit 10. That's going to be volumes. That will be volume word problems. So again, Arithmetic Reasoning, Unit 10. And later this month, we will have a ton more questions for Unit 10 for volumes, for sure. We already have, I think it's 7 to 10 templates right now. We're going to add another 5, making it a nice 15 there. Makes sense after we shared the formula. So again, my question to you is, what are you going to do about that? So Amelia, think about it. It's like, okay, if the only thing that was stopping you from getting this question correct was knowing the formula, then let's make sure that that mistake never happens again. And you have the power to study these formulas, write them down on flashcards, say them out loud, quiz yourself every day. It takes 30 seconds. So let's keep doing that work. The first question was Unit 1, General Word Problems. So let's go ahead and move over my party people into the next one. Let's see if we can get some better questions here in terms of the difficulty. Let's not bore you guys. So let's go ahead and bring my face out. Timer is back up, and it has started. Go. All right. So let's go and have some fun here. Let's have some fun. Let's check this out. So my party people, let's go ahead and see what we have here. Let's bring myself back into the picture. And again, if it is a question mark, it's totally fine. So I'm going to teach you a lesson here in terms of, hey, knowing your formulas, very important. What's even more important, knowing how your formulas work. Everybody, let's go ahead and just simple exercise. Should be a very easy exercise, but I'm going to show you the importance of knowing your formulas with this. Everyone help me out. V over here, that stands for what? What does V stand for? V stands for volume. Okay, cool. Sounds good. We have pi right there. What is this? Can you type that word out for me? What is that again? What is that again? What is this right here? Radius. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. And then what does this say right here? What does that say? Just again, simple exercise. Simple exercise. It says the height. All right, sounds great. Cool. Perfect. So let's go ahead and read the information of the problem and see how that helps us. We see that the purpose of the question, again, it says, what is the volume of the cylinder? This is the formula for the volume of a cylinder. We go through the information that we're given, and we come to the conclusion that, this is how the first-time person doing this might see this. Okay, cool. We see 8 centimeters, then 4 centimeters tall. Okay, 4 centimeters tall, that's definitely going to be the height, so this must be the radius. We plug those in. And we put 8 squared times 4, and we're real jacked up. We're real excited because we think that we got this going on. Does this sound like you right now? We're going ahead. Volume equals, and you're even like, I know what squared means. That means, hey, that number multiplied by itself. 8 squared, 8 times 8, that's 64. Okay, fantastic. Now we come to the part where we're doing 64 times 4. I know my mental maths, my mathematics. 64 times 4, that's 256. And you come to the final conclusion right over here that we have 256 pi. That's the ugliest pi I've ever drawn. That's better. So, who here got to that conclusion and got to this answer? Who here got there? Who here got there? Sure, yeah, it burns. But when we're here, that's not correct. Everyone, what was the mistake that was made? What was the key mistake that was made here? What was the key mistake? That they gave you the diameter, not the radius. That's the biggest key here. The biggest key is that we were given the diameter. Let's go ahead and highlight that, everybody. Let's make that a very, very important highlight here. Diameter. We were given the diameter. And so because of that, we need to redo the entire way that we did this. All of this right here. I'm going to go ahead and use a red highlight. That's not the right number. Makes that wrong. Makes all that wrong. Makes the final answer wrong. Yes or no, my poor people, do you see what just happened here? Do you see what just happened? That's it. One simple mistake, one simple lapse in judgment, one simple lapse in actually knowing what you're supposed to actually plug in, that makes all the difference. So because of that, I know, Eros, that's why I put the Zoom link in there. That way everybody could just come in here. I'm a little frustrated with how this is going. So let me go ahead and put that there. So with that, there we go. Let's let those folks in. But with that said, now, this was wrong the entire way. So we'll go ahead and put this to the side, understanding that if we have the diameter of 8 centimeters, diameter equals 8 centimeters, well, what we're going to do with that information is know how to turn that into the radius. Everybody, how do we go to the radius? From the diameter, how do we go to the radius? Right, we're going to go ahead and cut it in half. We're going to go ahead and cut it in half. So let's go ahead and do that. 8 centimeters cut in half. That's going to be diameter equals, radius equals 4 centimeters. And now that we have that, we're all good. We divided by 2, our radius is 4 centimeters. And now if we plug that in, now we're going to be good. So here we are, volume equals pi times radius squared times height. And we're going to plug in the right numbers. We plug them in, and we have volume equals pi multiplied by 4 squared times 4. That's going to be volume equals pi times 16. 4 squared, 4 times 4, that gives us 16. And then we do 16 times 4, which will be 64. So that'll be 64 pi centimeters cubed. And that's how we'll get the correct final answer. So, my party people, throughout all these technical issues, I do appreciate your patience. But throughout these technical issues, do you understand that one mistake, not plugging in the right number to where it belongs, not just asking yourself first, hey, is this what belongs here? Is this the definition that belongs here? Is it clear that overlooking that can cost you the whole problem automatically? Is it clear? Perfect. I'm glad that that makes more sense. I'm glad that we understand the fundamental importance of having these formulas handy, but on top of that, knowing how they work. And Shurim, because if you look at your answer choices, notice how we actually don't mind what pi is, the short version of it, or the approximation. We don't need to use 3.14 because if we look at our answer choices, we're still using pi all the way through. We're good. We're using pi all the way through. So, yeah, exactly. So they're basically telling you, keep pi as pi. Don't worry about using 3.14. But if you see that the answers don't include pi when you know that pi is somewhere in there, double check, double check. Yeah, and for those of us that are just transitioning over from YouTube, here's the big point. The big point is this. You got to know your formulas, but you got to make sure you're plugging in the right things. For those of us that plugged in 8 earlier, well, 8 is not the radius, 8 was the diameter. To get the radius, you cut it in half. So if you got 256 pi, no, all wrong. If you go over here, the radius was actually going to be 4. That's the biggest key. Yes, we do divide by 2. From the diameter to the radius, we always divide by 2. Yes. And for those of us wanting to know, this is going to be Unit 9 in Arithmetic Reasoning. Arithmetic Reasoning, Unit 9 for circle word problems. So you'll have things like circumference, you'll have things like area, you'll have revolution problems, radius, diameter problems, the whole 9. Yeah, absolutely, Diego, and that's a fair point. So everybody pay attention. Look, if the diameter was 7, you still divide it by 2 to get the radius. Just because you're going to get a decimal, 3.5, doesn't make it any less doable. Decimals are numbers too. And I think I should make a shirt and just say decimals are numbers too with a crying emoji. So remember, fractions, decimals, percentages, they're all numbers. Don't be afraid to work with them. You have to know how to work with them, and that's why the math basics is so important. This problem was on their practice test today. Well, hey, we got to be ready. We got to be ready. So my party people, here we go. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here. I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to give us an extra 30 seconds while I migrate everybody over from YouTube. I'm going to close the YouTube stream because there seems to be a technical issue, and we'll bring everybody in here. And I think I'm just going to keep it to Zooms all the time forever just to avoid any more confusion in the future. So let's go ahead and get your timer set up. So let's go from respect to complete domination. If you know what I mean, let's go ahead and have some fun. My party people, first things first, as a pop quiz, what's the first thing we do with every word problem? Yeah, we always read the question. So that's exactly what we're going to do. How far apart will the cars be after 5.5 hours? So here's where we see the difference between a first-time test taker versus someone who's actually been prepared through the material. So everybody, for those of you who know, what type of unit are we looking for in this problem? They give you 5.5 hours, and that's time in that question sentence, but what unit are we actually looking for? Yes. Erixa, Jonathan, Jocelyn, yes, we are looking for distance. Looking for distance. Now, everybody, you tell me, is there only one type of distance, rate, time, word problem, or are there different types? You tell me. You tell me. Is there only one type of distance, rate, time question, or are there multiple? Or are there more than one? Yeah, there's lots of different types. There are lots of different types. And so it's very important to understand what situation you're dealing with. Are you dealing with one distance, one rate, one time? Are you dealing with multiple things happening at the same time? Or are you dealing with multiple scenarios? And let me explain briefly the difference. You can have one person, one scenario. That's the typical basic question. Hey, driving 45 miles an hour for 10 hours, what's the distance? That's a very basic level question. But then there are two other things that you really need to concern yourself with. And one is when you have multiple scenarios where you could say, hey, you got this person, they're going this far, this rate, this time. But on the other hand, they could go ahead and do this rate or this time. And then they ask you a question. That's the same person, different scenarios. But what we have here is we have two objects in the same scenario. Notice how we're talking about two cars traveling. They start at the same time from the same position. Everyone, does that make sense? You can have your regular distance, rate, time question, and you can also have different and more complicated situations where you have multiple scenarios or multiple objects. Let me know if that makes any sort of sense. I'm not asking you to get a PhD in distance rate time. I'm just asking you if the possibility of having multiple types of questions, it makes sense. Cool. Sounds good, Debbie. Jonathan, appreciate y'all. So let's now get into the nitty-gritty. Let's understand what's really going on here. So over here, when we read the information, we see that it says 2 cars begin from the same position and travel in the same direction. So this falls under, again, this is still the same scenario. We just have 2 things happening at the same time. So as a reminder, for those of you who just don't know what to do in those situations, remember that I just posted this nice little formula and conversion sheet. Shout out Jocelyn for continuing to let me know that I needed to get this done. So I appreciate you. So we're going to go ahead and just scroll back up. And we're going to go all the way. Let's go ahead and just make that a little better for us. And we're going to go right over here. Formula for distance rate time. Right over here where it says 2 rates. Here are my quick notes. We see that if it says if we're going in the same direction, we'll subtract the rates or subtract the distance because we're getting closer together potentially. And then if we are going in the opposite direction, we are adding the rates. Yes or no? Do you see that right there? Appreciate you. Perfect. So what do we know that we need to do about this question? Just based off of that. Just based off of that and based off of this highlight right here, same position and travel in the same direction, what do you believe that we are going to have to do at some point in this question? Right. We're going to go ahead and subtract the rates and put ourselves in a position to succeed here. Just like that. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Again, distance equals rate times time. And since we are only dealing with one scenario, 2 objects, but because we're only dealing with one scenario, we only need one formula. So the distance that we're looking for, well, that's the answer. Again, how far apart? So that's our answer right there. Nothing to do there. The time, everybody, pop quiz. What did it say in the question? Use your eyes, find it, find it, find it. What's the time period that we're dealing with here? 5.5. So we know what that's going to be. 5.5 hours. Now the true question really is, what rate are we going to use? And this is where you can remain calm. Because we said since we're going in the same direction, we'll subtract the rates and we're fine. Let's highlight that over here in red. And we see that car A and car B travel at 95 kilometers per hour and 162 kilometers per hour respectively. That's all we needed to see. We said that we'll subtract those rates. So we'll take the 162, we'll subtract 95, and we'll get that final rate. Everyone subtract, what's that going to be? I can do that in 2 seconds. You should be able to as well. And I'm going to show you just a quick little detour of mental math in a moment. But if we're doing 162 minus 95, what's that going to be? Quick, quick, quick. Fiona knows mental math. She absolutely does. All right. So it looks like a good, healthy bit of us have an answer. It is 67. But did anybody actually go through with borrowing a 1 like so? Did anybody do it like this? And then 15 minus 9 is 6? Anybody do it like that? Okay. So let me just make an argument as to why I believe you should come to more of these classes and join the program if you're not in there already. And if you are in the program, doing things in the right order, starting from the math basics. Let me make my pitch to you as to how helpful this is. In the program, you'll be able to learn to go from taking maybe 10 seconds to do this to taking 1 second. Let me prove it. If we're trying to get the distance or the difference between 162 and 95, here's the thing. Everyone, let's use a middle number. This is a mental math technique, especially when you're close to 100 or close to 10 and you just want to just do a different way of subtracting. Watch this. Everyone, how far is 95 from 100? How far is 95 from 100? Right, that's going to be 5. And everybody, how far is 100 to 162? That's easy. How far are those apart? 62. So if we go up 5 to get to 100, then up 62 to get to 162, what's the total difference? What's the difference? Tell me. 5 and 62 makes what? 67. You don't need to go through the act of borrowing and subtracting when you have convenient situations like this. So I can train you to look at these situations and just say, okay, 162 minus 95, 67. And then you just move about your business. And then you just keep moving about your business. My party people, does that make sense? That strategy saves you a little bit of time. 9 seconds on the ASVAB makes a big difference, especially when you have that one question right there at the end that you know you can answer. So again, take advantage of doing things faster and more efficiently when you see that you can. Sweet. So here we go. Last step, 67 times 5.5. Looks like we're dealing with multiplying decimals now. So if you're a little shy of decimals, well, you got to get over it. You got to learn it. So here we go, 67 times 5.5. What we do is we'll just ignore the decimal and we'll just bring one decimal back at the end. So here we go. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 6 times 5, that's going to be 30. Carry the 3 is 33. 7 times 5 over here, that's going to be, same thing, 35. But we need to put that 0 there first. So we have 35, carry the 3. 6 times 5 gives us 30. Carry the 3. 33 again. Now from here, we'll go ahead and add things back together. And we'll have 5, 8, 6, and 3. My party people, what is it that we need to do again at the end here? What did we say? We said what? Keza, that's right. Fiona, yep, bring that decimal back. We had one decimal there. We'll bring that decimal back. That's right, Debbie. Boom. And so we have 368.5, and I believe that's going to be kilometers. So 368.5 kilometers. That's our distance. But the true piece, right over here, but the true piece that we should be paying attention to was, hey, how did we know that we needed to subtract the rates? That's the biggest question here with this problem. And again, this will be arithmetic reasoning, Unit 5, distance, rate, time. Arithmetic reasoning, Unit 5, distance, rate, time questions. But the reason, again, that we did that was because we have one scenario, multiple things happening in this one scenario. What was the goal? The distance between these two objects at that time. Because they're moving in the same direction, we need to subtract or take away what they both already cover. Because if I go 2 steps in this direction, and then this person goes 1 step in the same direction, we're not 3 steps apart. If I go 2, this one goes 1, it's a gap of 1. You subtract those rates to get the difference, in their distances. That's what you wanted. So that's the big key here. Now, we may or may not get another distance, rate, time question in this class, and it's very important to note when you need to use these strategies. So again, if you have one scenario with multiple things happening, you are going to have to combine the rates or combine distances at some point. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward here. And while you're performing this next question here, I'm going to drop the coupon code as promised for our Labor Day sale. You can get up to 25% off of the entire program, all the classes, courses, progress reports that you need to make sure that you succeed. And fun fact, every single student who has completed our program passes the ASVAB. Can't make it up, it's true. So let's go ahead. Oh, go ahead, give me your best interpretation. What are we looking for? In plain English terms, just so you understand in plain old English, what is it that we're trying to accomplish here? What do we want to find? What do we want to find? Cost, total cost, total cost, total cost. Okay, cool. Okay, now do I know how to get that total cost yet? I don't care. I just need to know what it is I'm trying to do, and then I'll figure out how to do it. But first, we need to know what we need to do before we figure out how. So remember, guys, just because you're a little lost doesn't exempt you from reading the question sentence. Right here, let me go ahead and just remind you again about our Labor Day sale, LD23 at checkout, all caps. Save up to 25% on any plan. So with that right here, what will be the total cost to complete the project? Again, you are not exempt from reading a sentence. So that's what we want. We want the total cost. Now, let's take a quick brief moment to read the information of the question, not the numbers themselves, but what the numbers mean. So let's go over here. You need to buy 2 materials to complete a project. Material A costs $2.45 per inch, and you require 1 foot and 2 inches of it. Material B costs $2.91 per inch, and you require 10 inches of it. Okay, again, don't worry about the numbers. You can read it again and you can say, material A costs this much per inch, you need this much of it. Material B costs this much per inch, you have this many inches. So, either way, even if you were confused, is it clear that we have material A, material B, and if we want to find the total cost, find the cost of A, find the cost of B, add it together. Yes or no? Does that more or less sound like a very simple solution to this question? Does that sound like a nice, simple solution? Again, in a fantasy land. Okay, so even if you were confused, I hope that I can bring you along with us because we're not doing math yet. To do the math, you have to have the right setup. Remember that a word problem, the first half of it, is all about the English, not about the numbers. It's all about the English behind those numbers. So here, our goal will be find the cost of A, find the cost of B, and at the end, we will add those together. So, first things first, we see in the first part, we have material A costing $2.45 per inch, and we have this much of it. So again, for material A, here's what we need to do. If it costs $2.45 per inch, everybody, one more time, per what? Per what? Help me out. Per inch. Okay. If we have 1 foot and 2 inches of it, is all of that written in inches? Is all of that written in inches? Didn't ask for the conversion. I'm asking a simple question. Is all of that written in inches? No. We have 2 inches at the end, sure, but the whole thing, 1 foot and 2 inches, that's not what we need. We need all of it in inches. And so this is where you might ask yourself, hey coach, how many inches are in a foot? Or for those of us that are really confused, we might say, how many feet are in an inch? But either way, we can go ahead, turn our attention right over here to our little formula sheet once we have it with us, and we can go ahead, scroll right up, and we can see that if we look right over here, we see that 1 foot is 12 inches. We see it right there. So if you'd like to go ahead and print this out, it is available to you in the program right there in the Arithmetic Reasoning course. Yes, you can download this. Yes, you can print it out. No problem. And boom, we'll go ahead and use it. We'll go ahead and use it. So we'll come back over here. 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. So everyone, we have how many total inches? If 1 foot is 12 inches and we also have 2 extra inches, how many total inches is that? 14. So we have 14 inches. And there we have it. So because it is $2.45 per inch, we need to multiply that by the number of inches to get the total amount for material A. Yes or no, does that make sense? Because it says $2.45 per inch, when we multiply by the inches, we get the cost. Cool. So let's apply that. And again, this is where we'll get to dealing with decimals. So if this is where we get a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, then write that down. I got to practice my decimal operations, multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition. We got to work it. So here we go. 245 multiplied by 14. Let's put in that work. And let me make this just a little smaller so we can see a little bit better here on our screen. So 5 times 4, that's going to be 20. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 2 is 18. 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. Carry the 1 is 9. Next up, we'll go to the next place value, that 1 right there. And so we'll place a 0. Then we'll have 5 times 1, 4 times 1, and 2 multiplied by 1. Bring this all back together. And now we have 0. 8 plus 5 is 13. 9 plus 4 plus 1 is 14. 1 plus 2, that's 3. And everyone, pop quiz, how many decimal places are we moving back? How many decimal places do we move back? Is it 1 or is it 2? I see some, it's 2. It is 2. The way that I know, 1, 2, then we'll bring back 1, 2. So the total amount for material A is going to be $34.30. My party people, are we done? No, we're not done yet. We now, remember, that's what happens when we keep the goal in mind. When we organize ourselves in the solution process, knowing that we need to add what A and B cost together. We found A, now let's find B. Remember, all of this needs to happen in 2.5 minutes. So I'm just really diving into each individual step, but it's up to you to get better at each of those steps. Working with decimals, working with conversions, knowing that per this much means if you multiply by that, you'll get the total cost. You need to be aware of these things, and not only aware, but you need to be disciplined in your practice and building that confidence. Your confidence truly comes when you can explain why. If you're just going through the motions without checking yourself or understanding it or asking why, you're not building confidence. So here we go. B. B, I'll go ahead and use a different color. I'll highlight it in red, and we see that it says 291 per inch, and you require 10 inches of it. So if I see that right here, 291 per inch, and we have 10 inches. My party people, do we have to convert here too, right? We got to convert here, right? No, right? We don't have to convert here. Why did we convert before? Because we had feet in inches. Here, it's actually just 10 inches, so we're fine. And we're actually multiplying by 10, which is pretty convenient. Because now what we can do to multiply these together, well, when you're multiplying by 10, we just move that decimal one place to the right. And so $2.91 becomes $29.10. It's very well worth knowing how to multiply by factors of 10 or powers of 10, excuse me. It's very well worth it. So now we're here. Well, what do we know? We have our costs. We have the cost for material A. We have the cost for material B. What's all that's left to do, everyone? What's all that's left? Right. The last thing we need to do here is go ahead and add. So let's do that. And for those of us asking me to perform the actual multiplication by 10, that's so rudimentary that I'm going to really encourage you to work on your arithmetic with decimals, because you'll see how quick that is. So here, 3430. We're going to add with 2910. So we have 0. That's going to be 40 cents. Anything here end in 40 cents? Oh, look at that. I actually don't even need to finish the problem because this is the only one that ends in 40 cents. But I will finish this up. I will. So we have 4 plus 9, which would be 13. 3 plus 2 is 5. Carry that 1. That'll be 6. So we have $63.40 for the total project, because we have material A and material B added together to get that total. And there we go. Again, we started with a very sincere and simple approach. We said we're trying to complete a project. and we have these two materials. We want to know what the total cost of the project is. So we just said, hey, in English, that kind of sounds like if we find the cost of A and the cost of B, add them together. But things got complicated once we noticed that, hey, this problem incorporates a unit conversion, it incorporates working with decimals, and it also incorporates understanding your keywords to know that you're finding a total. Everybody, you tell me, for those of us that were confused, which one of those phases confused you the most? Was it understanding that you were looking for A plus B together? Was it understanding how to convert units? Was it understanding how to work with a decimal? Or was it all of it at the same time, just working with it? What was the most annoying or frustrating part for you here? So Zico, converting the feet into inches. So again, that's something that we can definitely work on. Brian, you should have been my math teacher in high school. Well, if you want to go ahead and identify as a 16-year-old again, feel free. Take some classes, I got you. And, oh, actually, funny story. I've been getting reached out to by a lot of districts across the U.S. about adopting this ASVAB program. So, yeah, that happened. So, just wanted to kind of just, lay that out there. You guys have helped this get that big, that we actually have schools and districts out there in the States reaching out to us to just adopt it by the dozens and hundreds. So, I love you guys for that. Just want to just pause and say thank you. You guys made that happen. Every single one of you who have been talking well about us, it's all because of you. So with that, that's right, that deserves a yurt. So with that, I really want to read from you guys, again, what was it that was the issue for you? So I see that you're reading the conversions, adding them up. Any other frustrations about this? And thank you guys, I appreciate it. Again, you guys made this program, not me. But you tell me again, what was the most annoying part for you? The conversions for you, Virginia? Brian, is that yeet or feet? Because I could take that both ways. Feet, sounds good. So again, you have the control. Same thing with you, Ortega. You have the control. Now we know what we need to work on. We know we have the tools to work on it. Get to work. Get to work. Remember, effort, it's free. Your problems require effort to solve. Effort is free. You got a blank check. Put in the effort, okay? Let's go to dive into the next one here. People, is it clear by this problem now that knowing a formula makes a difference between getting a problem correct and incorrect? Does that ring true for you? Does that ring true for you? Knowing a formula can make the difference between getting a question correct and incorrect. Okay. Now, follow-up question. Can knowing a formula make a difference in your confidence? Can knowing a formula make a difference in your confidence? Yeah, I think we're all here. We're in agreement. So again, don't take the lazy way out. Don't take the cop out and hope that that certain question isn't on the test. Here's the thing, everybody. Knowing your enemy is the first step in defeating your enemy. Your enemy right now is the ASVAB, particularly the arithmetic reasoning at this moment in time. If you know that the area of a triangle is important or is a topic that will be covered potentially in your exact version of the test, then be ready for that potential circumstance or situation. Be ready for it. Know your formulas. So, my party people, first things first. I said that we're dealing with the area of a triangle. What the heck do you mean? What do you mean? Everybody, can someone tell me where in this problem we know that we're dealing with the area of a triangle? Because I don't see the word area actually anywhere here. So can you tell me where the word area is hinted at? And April, I love that you put the number, but remember, it's not about the number. It's about being able to justify that number. So what words or word around that 38.5, what words give us the clue? Surface, covers, right? We see that, okay, the triangular picture frame covers 38.5. Okay, it covers, that's a clue. On its surface, that's another clue. But here is the definitive proof. I hope I am putting the pen in the right place because I'm not looking behind me. But here's the definitive proof. Right over here. Square inches. What did I say earlier, everybody? Cubic inches is volume. Square inches or square units, that's area. Did I not tell you that? There you go. That's how you know you're dealing with area. Let me go ahead and let Jalen in. But that's where you got it. So right here, not the 38.5, it's the phrase square inches. That's a dead giveaway that the value that you're looking at represents an area. And because we're dealing with a triangle, that's when, boom, that light bulb comes on and you're saying, hey, we are incorporating the area of a triangle into this question. That's how we know. My party people, yes or no? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah, it's all about that math vocabulary. It seriously is about translating English into math. Every question, every time. So here we are. Let's go ahead and make this a little thicker. Boom. And so what we need to know is that we're looking for how long the base is. So we know that our base is equal to something, but more importantly, we are incorporating the formula for the area of a triangle. And again, if you don't know where to find your formula for the area of a triangle, well, then look no further than right behind me again, because all you have to do is go ahead, scroll on down, go to the part where we have our formulas, and there we go. Area of a triangle is base multiplied by height. All of that divided by 2. So again, download that PDF that I just put into your arithmetic reasoning course. That way you can take full advantage of it. And while you practice, you got what you need. And then once you're confident enough that you've memorized everything up and down, use that reference less so you have that confidence when you take the test. So there we are. My party people, here we go. What is the area that we're given? What is the area that we're given? 38.5, absolutely. So we'll write down 38.5. Then we'll go ahead and write down our base, which is, we can just say B, because remember, that's what we're looking for. So we can just leave it as B. We're looking for it. I don't know what it is yet. Cool. Then after that, everybody, are we given a height? Are we given a height? Again, I'm going to take a guess. I'm not looking behind me. I'm going to just, there we go. Yeah, 7 inches in height. 7 inches in height. So, boom, right there. We're good. We have that. Let's go ahead and use brown. Again, it's not about seeing the 7. It's about seeing the word height. That's really what's important. So there we go. We have height times 7 divided by 2. Okay. So how do we solve this? Well, everybody, finish the sentence. Solving equations is the art of what? Solving equations is the art of, Sherm, thank you. Working backwards. Marcus, arrows, thank you. Working backwards. Jocelyn, working backwards. You've been putting in the work and putting in the effort. So how do we work backwards here? We notice that we're trying to get the base by itself. We know that we're multiplying by 7 and we're dividing by 2. So we'll do the opposite of those things by first, dividing by 2. The opposite of that is multiplying by 2. So I'll go ahead and just multiply by 2 up top and right there 2. And what do we get? Well, that cancels out. And then we have 38.5 multiplied by 2, which we can perform quickly right over here. Okay? And so that should end up being 77, but let's just go ahead and do the math anyway. 5 times 2, that's going to be 10, carry the 1. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1 is 17. 3 times 2 is 6, carry the 1 is 7. So there we have it. And so we will take 1 decimal place back because we were dealing with 1 decimal place earlier. So we have 77 equals the base times 7. Now, the last thing we need to do is get rid of the 7. We have the base right there. It's almost by itself. We almost have the answer. But we need to do the opposite of multiplying by 7. The opposite of multiplying by 7 is what, my Porter people? Exactly, division. And so say it properly out loud. You have to write it down. But properly out loud would be divide both sides by 7. And this is just me really expressing this for those of us that struggle with solving equations, because I know a lot of us coming from various backgrounds here want to make sure I talk to you too directly. So with that, yeah, we'll divide by 7 on both sides, and we are good. So bam, the base is 11. And there we have it. There's our answer. It is A. There we go. Who got it right? And who learned what their mistake was? Go ahead. If you got it right, say, whoa, yeet, you're, whatever you want to say. And then if you understand what your mistake was now, go ahead and say it. Not knowing the formula, was it solving the equation? Was it just knowing that that meant area? What was the issue for you? Let's point it out so we can grow from it. That's today's theme, growing from your mistakes. Not knowing that's a lot of people saying not knowing the formula. That's already every single person not knowing the formula. See how much that's going to cost you. We can get better, everybody. And it starts with admitting the mistakes. If we didn't take the time to learn the area of a triangle, well then, here's your wake-up call. Write it down, practice it a couple times, then practice it again tomorrow, and again until it's committed to memory. There we go. You guys having a good time so far? Right on. All right, so we're going to dive into the next question here. It's 7:42, so we have time for at least 2 more questions. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Let's go ahead right over here. Started. We see here that it says, hey, blah, 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 but here's what we're really looking for. This is what you want to direct your attention to. What's the smaller number? And you have 2 numbers. You have 2 numbers, and we want to know the smaller one. So even if we were confused, do you know what you're looking for? You have 2 numbers, and you're looking for the smaller number. Yes or no? Does that make sense to you? Good. Perfect. Great. Bueno. All right, so here we go. So we have 2 numbers. We want the smaller number. So if we wanted to take advantage of the answer choices, everybody, what do those answer choices represent? What do each of these numbers potentially represent? Just remind me, enlighten me, remind me, please. What is it that these numbers represent? April, amazing, thank you. Yes, the smaller number. Again, knowing what the answers represent opens the door to using them in a trial and error guess and check system if you ever get desperate. So assuming that we're in that situation, in that mode, and we don't know how to do this the straightforward way, okay, let's take some guesses. Let's assume that the smaller number was 45. Let's take that first answer. Let's assume. Well, everybody, what does it say? These 2 numbers need to add up to 93. Okay, so everybody help me out. We have 45 plus a blank number equals 93. So if we wanted to know what that blank number was, we got to go ahead and subtract the 45, right? To figure out what that gap is, yes or no? Yeah, if we want to know what that other number was, we have to go ahead and subtract. So if I do 93 minus 45, again, you can do the same thing I said earlier. 45 to 50, that's 5. 50 to 93, that's 43. So that's going to be 49. Or excuse me, 48. Wow. 48. Or again, if you didn't want to do that mental math stuff, you can just go ahead and borrow. 13 minus 5, that's going to be 8. 8 minus 4 is 4. Either way. All I'm saying is, when we perform that, the bigger number in this alleged scenario is 48. Okay, so that's check 1. 45 and 48, that makes 93. Now, are we going to check off on this next scenario, everybody? With 45 and 48 being our guesstimations or guess and check, does that still hold true? Is one of those numbers 3 more than the other? Does that hold true? Yeah, 48 is 3 more than 45. And so, yeah, that holds true as well. And in this scenario, we got very lucky because we found the answer on the first go. We found the answer on the first try. But if we would have gone ahead and shown the wrong way to do it, or the wrong answers, I'm going to pick a random one. I'm going to pick, let's say, 38. If I chose B, well, guess what? If 38 is the smaller number, what would the big number be? Again, it says one number is 3 more than the other. So what would the alleged bigger number be, everybody? In this scenario, if the small number is 38 and the bigger number has to be 3 more than that number, right, we would get 41. So that bigger number would be 41. And what did we say? What did the problem say that these two numbers have to add up to? What do these numbers have to add up to again? They have to add up to 93. So let's see if they add up to 93. 41 plus 38, 1 plus 8, 4 plus 3. Do they add up to 93? No, they don't. So that's how you know that B is incorrect. And so you see how we can use, if we understand the conditions of the problem, we can actually do a guess and check system if we'd like to. Does that make sense, everybody? You tell me, does that make sense? Right on. Right on. So for those of you wondering what type of question this actually is, this is one of the more standard or basic types of a system of equations word problem. So basically what I did here was I reduced one of the most complicated ASVAB topics to a trial and error if it's out of your range, if it's too complicated for you. The true way to solve this would have been to set up your system of equations with two numbers adding up to 93 and then one number being 3 more than the other. And then you would have had to solve that system to get the actual answer. So you could have had one way to do it with trial and error, or the other way doing it standard as a system of equations. It's really up to you. I'm not going to take all the time to solve this as a system for the simple reason being that we are actually out of time, but there we have it for this specific one. Yeah, Jonathan, that's another way of doing it too. Absolutely, because you know what happens? When you perform a substitution on this system, you get exactly that. You'll get b plus 3 equals 93, and when you solve it, you will go ahead and get the smaller number. Yep, exactly. So thank you for showing that. That's good. That is good. So with that, I think this is a good time to go ahead and start winding things down. So let's go ahead and really self-reflect, because we have the time for that at least. We have the next minute here to reflect. You guys share your thoughts. What did you learn about yourself in this class? No, not if you liked it, not what you liked about class. I don't give a damn about that. What I care about is, what did you learn about yourself here? What did you learn about yourself? Give me something thoughtful. Give me something thoughtful. I don't want to hear just a eh. What did you learn about yourself here? Take your time. I'll give you an extra 20 seconds here. Okay, let's go ahead and read this. So again, Sheena, go ahead and keep this on the recording. So here, formulas are something that I have to crack down on. I learned I need to study formulas, understanding formulas. I need to learn the formulas. Math made me smile. Well, look at that. Disneyland and math, come on over. So beyond that, I'm better with formulas in arithmetic. I need to stop overthinking. So where does that overthinking come from? Overthinking comes from a lack of confidence. The more confidence you have, or the more experience you have in dealing with this, the more certain you'll be when it comes to applying this. So again, reality check for yourself. You're a lot smarter than you think. You have the information. It really comes down to practice. I need to understand my formulas. Math is practice. Learn I need to read the problem carefully. Formulas. Improve my mental math skills. Shout out Diego. Glad I took the time for not for nothing. Got it all right, Delilah. Wouldn't expect anything less from someone who's completed the program. I'm still not ready and I need to study formulas, need to practice more. Formulas are important to get better at math. I learned I need to study formulas. I can learn this stuff. Usually it's hard for me, but it's not that bad. Formulas. You didn't just have to add up the numbers. You need to know the formulas. Word problems. Improve my mental math. I love this. You guys are showing that we can grow by identifying our issues. So if I leave you with anything at all here, your formulas are important, but what's more important is your comfortability, your confidence that you know how those formulas work. Because even when I gave you the formula for the volume of a cylinder, did you see how half of us still got it wrong because we didn't know that diameter and radius weren't the same thing? So that's what I'll leave you with, gang. Study your formulas, but use your formulas. Get the mistakes out of the way in practice so you can shine on the test. All right, gang? So with that, I love you all, man. Let's go ahead and get ourselves over to the end screen here. We are going to have ourselves a nice little outro. So up next, everybody. So 2 things. For those of you who are in the program, obviously today is Tuesday, and we had Labor Day yesterday. So tomorrow's class, you have Coach Sheena for English, same time, 6 p.m. You have to be a program member for it. And then Thursday, yes, I am hosting a Thursday class this week because of the holiday. And on Thursday, we will be going over, I believe it's systems of equations. So if you find that, that topic, if you're looking at it and you're like, man, that's Goliath right there, well, come to that class. That's going to be a great way to show you that systems of equations aren't that terrible. There are stepping stones to learn it. And so I invite you to come to that class to see exactly what those stepping stones are and how your confidence can go through the roof in just a matter of a few short practice sessions. So with that, for those of you in the program, you know what it is. Remember that 2 things just happened in the past a week and a half. Number 1, guess what? Again, that formula and conversion sheet is now live in the Arithmetic Reasoning Bootcamp course. It's in the introduction unit. So that top unit, open it up. It's the last thing right there. Number 2, remember, again, if you're in the program, I have updated this for free for everyone. You now have access to your real-time data outside of the website. All you need to do is text this number, 833-321-0182. You just need to text that number right there. Everybody should text that number. But if you're in the program, ask that number right there for a progress report. I have basically coded this thing up and down to basically process your real-time information, and it's stored in that little system. So now you can just ask it, hey, what's my progress? What am I supposed to do next? I need a little help with XYZ. Where do I go for that? That will tell you exactly where to go any time of day, 24/7, 365 days a year. You're good. And for those of you that are interested in the program and taking advantage of our crazy Labor Day sale, it's not going to last forever. You can get 20% off your first month or 25% off the full year or lifetime program by just going ahead, texting that number, and ask it about the Labor Day sale. It'll tell you exactly how the program works if you need to go right now, and it'll give you the code again. But as a reminder, the code is LD23, Labor Day 23, and again, you get a massive discount on a program that's already the most affordable in the nation. So just for context, most programs out there charge $200 a month. With that coupon code, you'll be charged right around that or less for a full year. And you get 10 times what you would get anywhere else. So if you're in the program and you want to go ahead and back me up on that to know that I'm not lying, go ahead. But besides that, everybody, just remember that whether you choose me or choose somebody else, it really all comes down to your practice and how ethical you are in terms of managing yourself. If you know that you are lacking in knowing your formulas, take responsibility of that and put in the effort. If you know that your confidence for a certain topic isn't where it's supposed to be, put in the effort. At the end of the day, effort is free, and that's how you can ace the ASVAB. And whether or not it's with me, I still wish you all the best. So again, this is where I'll leave you, my party people. The program gives you all the classes, all the courses you need, where everything is just lined up for you, and all you need to do is sit down, get to work, and get that score you want. And again, fun fact, we pulled the data. Every single person who's finished our program has passed the ASVAB. That's a fact. So go ahead. I'll put the program link in the chat box if you'd like me to. Right here. And then the code is Labor Day 23, LD23 at checkout, and you can save huge this week only. So my party people, go ahead. You're good. For those of you in the program, we'll see you tomorrow and Thursday. Continue working on the side in those courses that you have access to 24/7. And for those of you who are interested in the program, go ahead. Text that number right there to get more details, or click the link that we just left for you here in the chat box. That way you can get the job you want and you can serve our country in the way that you want. You deserve that. So there it is, my party people. I'll take a second to answer any questions that you have here in the chat box, but I will be closing the room down in just a few moments, simply because I did just have another round of my infusions today, so I do absolutely need to rest. And I also have another round first thing in the morning. And for those of you who are wondering, they've been going phenomenally. I've actually gained back 23 pounds out of the 40 pounds I've lost because of my disease. So I want to just thank you guys for being so supportive through all of this and just being amazing, man. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate y'all. So let me answer these questions here. I got y'all. Looking forward to having you too, Jonathan. Yeah, you have a good rest of your night too, David. Thanks, Brian. Program is awesome. Word knowledge is in there as well. Yes, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and general science are included in the program. We teach English once a week, math twice a week, and you also get a 200 question practice test course for general science. So the general science is actually included for free. We really only charge you for the classes and the courses, and general science, because it's not a completely crazy full out course, we included it in there for free while we continue working on it, and you still will get all updates for free. Glad to have you too, Danielle. First class, let's go. That's what's up. Jonathan, glad to have you. Hoping to see you in the program too. Hopefully I answered that question about general science. Yes, English tomorrow, that is correct, with Coach Sheena. Tomorrow you will have Coach Sheena for word knowledge. And remember that every class that Coach Sheena has done this entire year has featured new word problems or word knowledge questions. And guess what? For those of you that are still here, in word knowledge, we're actually planning a massive update where every question that Coach Sheena has gone through is going to be live in the word knowledge course, along with the recordings to learn from them, allowing you to go ahead and take a practice test with randomized words over and over and over as we continue adding more and more words. So it's going to get even better than before, as awesome as it already is, and that's going to come for free to anyone who's already in the program. Reptar, I love that name. Yeah, of course. I'm here to do what I need to do to get better. I'm not going to make any excuses. I have all the power in the world to take this in my own hands, and that does come with sacrifice. But at the end of the day, man, can't end a good party without somebody on the floor. So I'm here to ride this out. Cool. I'll see you tomorrow, Keon. Appreciate you. All right, great. So with that said, my party people, again, for those of you that are interested in the program, text that number right there and ask about the program details. Ask about the sale that's going on. You can also find the full program right there with the link. And again, the code to use is LD23. Quotes 10 out of 10. I love that quote, man. That came from one of my favorite shows that I used to watch growing up. I won't say the name of the show just so I get distracted. But I really, really love that quote because, you know, no matter what, life's a party. And you get to choose, in most cases, what that party is and how that party ends, and just have a good time doing what you love. And I'm just, as bad as my health is, I've still had the privilege of helping people succeed for a living. I couldn't ask for anything else. Like, that's why I wake up in the morning. It gets me, I got goosebumps right now talking about it. I love helping people succeed. So, can't say anything better than that. English, same time tomorrow, Virginia, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, if you ever are confused about when the next class is, same thing. Text that number. Ask, when's the next class? What's my progress? I need help with XYZ. How do I study this? Any question that you could have about studying for the ASVAB, right there. And if you need to reach me directly, just email me at the support line, support@duranlearning.com, and we got you. Excellent. You guys have been amazing to have, man. You guys have been absolutely amazing to have. So if you have any questions at all, again, text that number right there. hoping to see you in the program tomorrow. That way we can get you on board, get you in that class for word knowledge, and then systems of equations on Thursday. But remember that once you sign up, make sure to read that email, make sure to read that welcome text, and make sure that you follow those steps. If you finish the program, you are guaranteed to pass. Now, how well and how efficiently you work, that will determine how big of a jump your score goes. So make sure that if you have any questions, reach out. But when we reach out to you, read those pieces of communication. It's going to help you out. So there it is, my math party people. You guys have been amazing. I will see y'all in Thursday's class, and then tomorrow, Sheena's got your back. See you guys. Love y'all, and let's ace the ASVAB as always. Cheers.